be great to put not only the cable lines, but also the power lines underneath. I mean, in the windy conditions that we have, especially close to the beach, there's absolutely no reason not to do it. And while there's disruption, it's a perfect time to have those things underground. So I would like to see some kind of long-term plan as part of the negotiations. I completely understand that it can't happen overnight. It's I'm sure, very cost ineffective in the short run, but cost effective in the long run, and a lot less disruptions in our windy city. Another thing, of course, is the 8 to 5. I have noticed a little bit better response from CableOne lately as far as myself and getting a call from them an hour or so before when they were going to do it. And it was, oh, we can only come out there from 8 to 5. I said, well, that's absolutely just not acceptable. I can't stay home from 8 to 5, miss work. But they have allowed someone to call, but usually it happens when they're standing at my front doorstep, and then they say, well, we've got to move on to the next client now. So an actual 1 hour time window when they could do it, it always amuses me when I see the TV commercial where the CableOne truck pulls up and the lady smiling that she just got off of work and they happen to be there at the same time, and it's so great, and it cracks me up every time. So those are my two comments. I appreciate it.
Michael Byershed, 2255 Switzer Road, Gulfport, 39507. My comment is as the fire chief, actually, and one of the things that I've been trying to work on is a QA/QI program in our incident reporting system for the fire department, and a challenge that I've run into is our internet speed that we're able to upload and download. We're currently on regular DSL through the phone company, and IT tells me that the problem is just the speed of service that we have through that medium won't handle the amount of data we're trying to push and pull, over that. And so I thought it might be a good idea for us to investigate, possibly including in this contract, cable internet for the fire station, so that maybe I could, push and pull that data, and also it would be a great savings on my budget too.
Well, they are already providing cable service for TV, right?
Correct.
And I'll give you my card. Barbara Nally, 12127 Loveless Drive. I have some of the same concerns that the citizens prior to me were expressing to you. I would like to share some additional information. It seemed to be a concern of a couple of the citizens to have underground lines. Where I live, all of our utilities have been underground in the 29 years that I've lived in my house. And I can tell you, all during that time, I have had extensive problems with cable service, with the underground line, so that's not a cure-all. I can also tell you that service in the last year, perhaps few months to a year, has gotten better. I'm concerned as to whether that is because their contract is coming up, and to please put some measures in place so that that doesn't go back into what we were experiencing after the contract is signed. There was a point in time where it was impossible to get someone on the phone to help you. That was an issue. Again, having to stay home, as they said, for someone to come out and to see what's wrong with your service, being there all day is an issue for most folks. They just do not have the resources or the time available to do that. That needs to change. I can give you a personal example of when CableOne went to digital. I had HBO for about 14 years prior to that with my cable service. When they went digital, they said I couldn't have HBO unless I purchased the digital. That was something that I was receptive to trying to do. So I went and I got the boxes and I brought them home, and my husband and I tried to hook them up, and with no success. I called them on several occasions for assistance. They were not receptive to helping me, so I just got fed up one day and took the boxes and drove to Long Beach and gave them back to them. And when I walked in with them, they said, "Oh, we'll send someone to help you." And I'm going, not now, you won't. You could have offered on the many times that I called to get assistance. That needs to change as well. As I said, it has improved, in my opinion. in that their customer service has gotten better. I can tell you where I live, just over the past few weeks, my service has gone in and out. Typically on a Sunday, the last 3 Sundays in a row, in the middle of programming, primetime programming, service has gone out. One time, one of the weeks, it was as much as an hour or two. The next week, it's, a few minutes to an hour. But it's very inconsistent and can't seem to find out why. When I call, they say, well, as someone else said before me, you may get a service center somewhere in Arizona. They're not aware of what's going on, but they'll give you a call back and let you know. Also, I know that we probably do not have a lot of influence where the rates are concerned, but I would like to see something on a lower scale for someone who just wants a basic service, who's on a fixed income budget. My daughter lives in Tallahassee, Florida. They do have options in Tallahassee. But she's also able to get, and has had for the last 4 years, up until recently, by her choice, a cable program which cost her $11 a month. Now, she's not just getting her 3 local stations. She's got a Cartoon Network and ESPN. She's got probably about 12 different channels. But that's something that's affordable for everyone to have, or for most folks to have, who would like to have more than Channel 13 and maybe Channel 25 and a public broadcasting station. So any of those ideas, please keep that in mind when you're in the process of your negotiations with the contract. And most importantly is to make sure that the improvement in service we're seeing now continues after that time. Thank you.
That was part of the reason we brought the cameras tonight, is to make sure this would spark some more comments from the community. And I'd hate for us to be remiss, since we drug Ryan back here for recording purposes. And I think some of these are redundant, but others are not. And so if you don't mind, I'd like to take the liberty, and I'd love for Ms. Holmes-Hines to do likewise. Public access channel, we have one now, and that's a great thing. We definitely want to keep that. I'd love to see more things up on it. Mr. Walter Thomas, who is here tonight, has donated countless hours to recording numerous events throughout the city and put on there. And thank you for doing that. I would love to see some football games, Gulfport High, Harrison Central High School, West Harrison, basketball games, those types of things make it on there also, because I know that in other cities, I've talked to Greg, it's amazing what all they can put on those channels, and the community that we all represent has a lot of elderly that cannot get out to those events. We'd love to see them, and if we could maintain that would be absolutely great. And hopefully we can find a few more volunteers that would donate their time like Mr. Walter Thomas does and give back to the community in that way. The city channel, though, we've talked about a city channel. We want to do a city channel where we can do live broadcast of our council meetings, live broadcast of this public hearing meeting. We control this. We control the channel, and we can put on it public information, news bulletins, letting everyone know what's coming up on a city council meeting, what happened at a city council meeting, or any other numerous thing that is going on in the city. Definitely need one of those. There is another complaint I took from another council member who couldn't make it here tonight about having to have a cable box to get digital television. She said it is not required. In other areas, they have gotten away from that. I know for a long time it was you had to have an old cable box just to get an analog signal, and they made TVs that could take care of that issue, and you didn't have to have your cable box rental from the TV from the cable company anymore. So that was a cost saving to the customer. Bought a TV, make one-time investment, did away with that monthly service charge. We have technologies now today that I'm sure that can accommodate receiving digital transmissions, whether they be encrypted or not. I think it would at least be interesting to pursue that. I know they want to make sure that they're charging appropriately for the channels that the customer is receiving, but having to juggle 4 or 5 remote controls for all the different boxes you have to control while you watch TV gets a bit cumbersome. I have witnessed this personally as I walked through some neighborhoods recently. There are lines laid across fences that are cable lines. Now, I understand there's not a lot of voltage on those lines, or maybe not a lot of amperage on those lines. So if you hit one with a lawnmower, you're most likely going to survive, but it sure looks like trash. And for them to have those cable lines that have been out there on those fence rows for that long is uncalled for. I'm going to echo the after-hour service calls. They have got to provide better service times. Today, at my house, I still don't have internet service from the cable company because I had to leave my home to come to the meeting and didn't have time to button everything back up. But I had to have them come out to my house. I haven't had internet service steady for about 2 months, and I have missed the period when they come by the house and they